What's the crack? What's the bleeding story? How are you all doing and all that bollocks? Well, the bleeding story is Mikel Arteta has won another trophy. Of course, it's a glorified friendly, but you know, you can't look a gift horse in its mouth, can you? And once you're all in, the crack will soon begin. And I think it's quite fair to say that this was, you know, as one of our first guests will describe, a rather boring sort of game with nothing really much happening. One would be charitable and say that it was a rather cagey, niggly sort of affair. City did start well, but they started to get a bit complacent, you would say. And then our boys, Arsenal, just started to grow into the game, and we had the better chances. And I will say, though, that with our three new signings starting today, only one of them really looked good. And when Urian, of course, was taken off, it was as if, you know, we were falling down and everybody was yelling timber as we went behind. The less said about Kai Havertz, the better. And once again, Rice was a little bit undercooked. So if you enjoy going out for an Indian after your pints, make sure you get some naan or chapati with your curry. I know that's horribly stereotypical, but it is what it is. And then, of course, we score a goal in the most freakish of circumstances. But as I said, we can't look a gift horse in its mouth. Our super sub, Leandro Trossard, comes on to save the day and also save another substitutes, Bacon and Kieran Tierney. He would never have deserved to have ended this day if we had lost as the scapegoat, because he had just come on. It was a terrible bit of luck which saw his clearance not quite come to fruition, slipped as well as Cole Palmer was taking his shot. I think a lot of people would say that he looks a bit shot, lacking in a bit of confidence. The sooner he leaves, really, the better, because you just know that he's not going to be given the credit he deserves, especially when we had some absolute pieces of lunacy from Ben White and Aaron Ramsdale afterwards, which could have proved costly, but thankfully didn't. And, you know, for the pressure that we exerted on them as they got more complacent, I think you could say that an equaliser was forthcoming. So it's a trophy, a good start to the season. But let's be warned, people. This is going to be the worst that Guardiola will allow his men to play. And of course, they are the treble winners. They've already caught their bigger fish. They've fried them and they've enjoyed them. And this season, you know that their appetite is going to be whetted. So I am going to put the link in the stream, but let me welcome our first guest, one of our regulars, always the ever dependable, ever reliable, certainly redoubtable, Warren Bartholomew. Very good evening to you, and how are you this fine evening?
I'm all right, Manny. Thank you. Yeah, I'm happy that we managed to win the game. So yeah, everything's fine. How are you?
Yeah, can't really complain. I'm just going through the channels right now. Obviously, I've been trying to deal with a few things, some personal stuff, some other, you know, things, trying to make myself a little bit more well equipped, if you will. Um, and I am looking forward to the start of the football season. I would have prepared a bit better, but you know, sometimes life comes at you quite quickly, and you know, you got to sort of put things on the back burner. You know how it is; you've been there before. But always good to be back. Great to be in your company, and of course, the crack is beginning. You are in the building, and we've got some people in the chat. Craig Malloy saying that Manchester City are at an all-you-can-foul buffet. You did say it was boring when we met backstage. There were a few too many fouls committed in that first half, don't you think?
Yeah, maybe. I don't think it was a dirty game though. I just think like the pace was too slow. Um, it was a typical pre-season game. Then to me, um, it had all the hallmarks for a pre-season game, and in essence, that's what it was. So I'm really not inclined to read too much into it. I just think we look. If this was a proper game and it was in the middle of the season, I'd be concerned about our lack of cutting edge because we didn't really seem to create anything. The chances we did create, um, the lack of a clinical striker up front became very apparent. But like I said, it's only a pre-season game, so in essence, it doesn't really matter. The real business starts next week, so we'll see what happens then. But I just found it very slow, boring. I didn't think that they were really that interested in committing too much. I just think it was like a training exercise, really.
Yeah, certainly, as I said, obviously the chats are going through the penalty shootout. We don't really need to replay those chats. I think this one sums it off. Scores the Champions League winning goal and thinks he's the bee's knees. Bring it back down to earth. Nice one, Darren. And hope you'll be coming on as well. And Henry Ray Baker, the Liverpool fan, saying finally Arsenal can win something. Thanks a lot for joining in, Henry. Good to have you on, and hope that you will come on and speak to us. City needed snookers. Not even snookers were enough. A little Mickey taking or banter here from Mr. Sullivan. You're not winning anything. Shove it up your backside, as it were. And of course, we've got our usuals. Lenny Moon in the chat. Big up. Treble this year. Another classic case of Mickey taking. Smash the likes. Mr. Rossi. Thank you for making me so happy every time you see me and I see you. A new contract for 29 years. And I am on the dinner plate trophy. Way to go on that. Big up to you as well. 2 good chances. And here's another thing. Declan Rice. And I'm going to speak about this with a few others who are going to come in, obviously. But, we do have our guest coming in. Oops, sorry about that. Mr. Baker, good evening to you, sir. And how are you?
I'm fine, thank you very much. I'm glad to be here. Thank you for the invite. It's been quite a nice day here. I've been watching the stream about penalties. Everybody was saying that Arsenal were going to win. I predicted a 2-1 win for Arsenal because I hate City with vengeance. I can't stand them. And I'm glad people have left. But all credit to Arsenal for winning. I'm proud of you guys. Thank you for beating them. We've got a game tomorrow against Darmstadt, which is our last game of the pre-season, with just 2 midfielders. We are absolutely shocking. FSG, get the hell out of our club. I want my club back. What else can I say? Hi to everybody in the chat. Hi Warren, lovely to see
Hi.
you.
And you? Hey, you?
I'm good, thanks. I
Good.
did my first football Saturday show yesterday. Called it Grandstand.
Yeah, I saw that. That's good. I'm glad you did that.
Loved it.
Good.
So that would be my Saturday afternoon. I've now got 170 subscribers. So that's awesome. So I think I've said everything I need to say, really. But thanks very much for allowing me to come on. I like this channel. I like Del Boy. Yourself, Manny. Warren is outstanding. Kyle Walsh, great guy. And the fans, I love their passion for the club. So I don't think we will do very well tomorrow because we don't have the right players in. We've let too many go, thanks to FSG. So can someone take FSG with KSE and dump them in the nearest ocean and then walk away? Because I don't want them at all. They can get lost. I want my club back. I love Liverpool Football Club, but I cannot stand FSG. I hate them. I really do. I've been through
completely
so
agree.
much with Liverpool Football Club. Hillsborough, main one. But no, thank you very much for allowing me to come on. I appreciate it.
You know, we share your hatred for City, and I do seem to remember Warren doing a stream on their disgraceful behaviour towards the Liverpool fans, especially on the occasion of Hillsborough. So, yep, we share your hatred for City, and there is still some hope that the charges and the points deduction could take effect, but in effect, it's really only, clutching at straws and hoping for a pipe dream. But Henry, did you see the match, by the way, and what did you think of it?
I was listening. I've been listening to the commentary with Sophie, Football Talk, lovely lady. She was doing the game, and also I was in with Dave, old school. So I did one half with one and one half with the other, because I like to get round the channels and support everybody, as well as doing my own channel. But regarding the game, like I said, I didn't actually see the game because, like I said, I can't stand City, but I wanted Arsenal to win, so I was just putting my faith in Arsenal that they would get the job done, which they've done, and then just be around Arsenal fans to celebrate. That's all that needs to be said, really, that they've done the job.
Yeah, of course, we just started the stream immediately after Vieira's kick went in, so I'm not too sure that maybe some of them will be watching the trophy presentation coming in, but of course, as usual, we've got the Wexford Express coming in here, and all the way live from his vehicle. Kyle, good to see you. Did you watch the match? How did you enjoy it?
First of all, big up to you, to three of you there, lads. Three legends in the house. Big up to you all, and all the lads in the chat. Let's not start getting too carried away here. Trossard, lucky deflection, kept us in the game, and after that, it's anybody's game on a penalty shootouts. We did very well, won the penalty shootouts, won the Community Shield, fair play. But it was a lucky deflection that got us to where we got. Apart from up to right there, when he took the shot, I thought Arsenal Football Club were an absolute disgrace today. No effort, lack of ambition, no leadership, no striker, timid players, an absolute disgrace. And if that's what we're going to be looking into for the rest of the season, we're in for a quite-long season with that squad of players. Declan Rice, 105 million. Waste of space. Kai Havertz, are you joking me? Did you see the two? Did you see the two misses that clown made? Not good enough, Manny. You have to take the opportunity when it's there. No. Arteta, making stupid substitutions. No. Look, and listen, I'm delighted that we won it. Fair play to him. Are we going to win the Premier League? No. Are we going to win the Champions League? No. No excuses this season. Accountability for failure. A failure it's going to be.
Couldn't agree more. And it's here actually that we're going to talk about a subject which might sort of segue into what you were talking about. Warren, you seem to be wagging your fingers. Are you looking at something?
Yeah, I just want to say something in response to what Carl said. Everything he's just said is 100% correct. However, we have had, since this manager's been here, 4 years of excuse after excuse after excuse. and I don't see anything changing this season either.
Yeah.
That's all I
Well,
wanted to say.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm going to give the floor back to you, and obviously, Henry and Kyle, you can have your say on this. Because another issue, I mean, we've talked, we will certainly continue to talk at length about Rice and Havertz and their no-shows, and how Timber was, quite impressive after a somewhat shaky start himself. But once again, we see some of our established players who started today not really being able to give a good account of themselves. Gabriel Martinelli is a player who I absolutely love because he doesn't really get the PR and the plaudits that Saka normally gets. Although, another reason why I like him is that you would definitely not see him posing for a picture with Kim Kardashian, of all people. But, both of them, Martinelli did start quite well down the left and was trying his best to, run Kyle Walker ragged. But afterwards, when it came to taking set pieces, he just couldn't find the target. And Saka also was running well, but his contribution was so less. And these two players, mind you, are pretty much the, you could say, the fulcrum of the support from these top gooners who basically say, we've got our star boy, we've got Martinelli, two outstanding young players who are the future of our team. We love seeing them perform. And yet today, they were simply found wanting. Now, one school of thought says that, this is a glorified friendly, so you can't really expect the players to be completely sharp, and we did look quite sluggish. But having said that, you also want to see them try and show up. And for the most part, with Saka, we've seen him not really do very much. I don't like to see him overused, but when he gets an opportunity like this, and Luke James has pretty much said it. Saka was average today. Martinelli also was quite disappointing. Kyle has said it, no excuses. And Warren, I'm going to start with you. How much scrutiny do you think these boys are going to be under? And do you see their performances starting to diminish in the season if we're not careful?
So ask me the question again, Maddie. Sorry.
Yeah. I'm sorry. So, do you see Saka and Martinelli coming under greater scrutiny this season? I mean, do you think the fans might start to turn on them if they continue to underperform? And
no.
How I think that was pretty much the crux of my question. How long will it be, though, before their performances start to diminish?
How long will it be before their form starts to diminish?
Yeah.
No, well, for the first part of your question, I don't see it happening. I don't see the fans turning on them. I think out of our squad, I think they're the two least likely to get turned on. The manager certainly won't. And what was the second half of the question?
Yeah, the second half of the question was we've seen their form start to dip a little bit, and sometimes when it dips, it doesn't really show too many signs of getting a bit better. But then when it could very well be that their returns start to completely diminish, so to the point that, maybe they can't be in the picture anymore. Hopefully that won't happen with them. They're still quite young.
Yeah, I don't think that'll happen. I'm not concerned about that at all. I'm more concerned about the management of the team, because yet again we looked a bit shaky at the back. There was one instant when there looked like complete and utter chaos in the defence, almost a carbon copy of what happened against United. And there was a lack of urgency. If this was a proper game, which it wasn't, so I'm not majorly concerned about it. But if it was a proper game, I would be concerned about the lack of drive, the lack of urgency. There seem to be. They don't look fit. That's what I took away from the game. That's the big thing for me. The energy levels just look really low. And, that's a massive concern. And, because the pace of the game for me was very slow. I think you know, there was a lot. The passing was very slow and deliberate, and what have you. So that's a concern. But like I say, it's only a pre-season game, so it doesn't really matter. So,
I get that. Yeah.
But come next week, if we play like that, we got Manchester United. I think it's in about 3-4 weeks' time. If we play like that in 3-4 weeks' time when we face United, we could have a problem. But it depends how fit and whatnot they are. I mean, to me, it looks like it might take 2 or 3 weeks to get them up to speed. But I don't know. I'm not a fitness coach, but to me, they doesn't look like there's enough energy in the team.
I couldn't agree more with that. And of course, we now welcome Mr. Sullivan, looking very resplendent in his glasses. I love that new look, sir. When did you start adopting that?
It's the only shirt I've got left at the moment to wear.
I was talking about the glasses. I was talking about the glasses, actually.
Oh, the glasses, yeah. Sometimes I wear them, sometimes I don't. I'm all over the shop. I'll wear them 1 minute and then leave them off the next. Lovely to be on. I'm going to have to make this a short and sweet.
Yeah, because we've got your comments as well, and we are actually going to segue back to you because I was just asking a question about Saka and Martinelli. You've been critical of Martinelli, as his comment has shown.
Yeah.
And the question I was asking Warren was that it might not be long before eventually their performances start to suffer and they might end up getting some sort of criticism, although probably that won't happen. But with Martinelli as well, he has performed well in certain games, and certainly last season, the beginning, he was really good. But then there are some games, and certainly this one is one where, you know, he starts well, but doesn't quite take his chance, especially not with the set pieces. Are you worried that this could be the start of a permanent slide in his form, and could he be on his way out of the picture, perhaps?
Well, Martinelli can do some really good stuff. We've all seen that, and he seems to be a good lad. But I'm afraid if any Arsenal fan thinks at the moment and what he's done at this club is good enough and is going to propel us into Champions League wins and trophies and Premier League, no, I don't think he is. Can anyone tell me when he scored 2 goals in a game? And this is a bloke who plays up front, albeit on the wide left. When he runs, he's got his head down all the time. And then we see today, this is what I'm angry about. Then we see a player that we signed for 30 million in January, who's come in and technically levels above him and comes on. And I was watching the game and I was getting quite fed up with it. You know, I don't know where the extra time come from they played. We were very fortunate to get 100 minutes because I think it was 98 minutes come up on the screen. The ref played another 2 minutes. So, and then he did it all on his own. Trossard won us that trophy today on his own. He got the ball. He's not scared of City. All the rest of them all look scared of City's reputation. But Trossard isn't, because Trossard's got the belief. Trossard delivers. Yeah? Martinelli didn't come anywhere near doing what Trossard did for the whole 90 minutes. And that's what makes me so angry. And hence my post was a little bit, a little bit sort of over the top there with a swear word and that. But, you know, and I'm just scratching my head here, wondering, why doesn't Arteta see this? It's so obvious to me that Trossard is levels above Martinelli. Yet who starts the game? Martinelli. Trossard don't look injured. He looks good to go to me. He's looked good to go in all these games. Timber, I thought, had a good game. He looked very, very solid. And I thought, for the first time ever against Man City today, I didn't feel nervous. Oh, they're going to score at any minute now. Normally, when you play City, right from the first whistle, you're worried that you're going to be 3 down after 25 minutes. Well, I didn't get that today. And perhaps that's probably what everyone said on here about it being a pre-season friendly and it being a bit lacklustre. But just going through a few other bits here, and I'll keep it short. Ramsdale, I think, looks like a rabbit in the headlights. He looks like he's very frightened. And I think this is all about David Raya being rumoured to be joining the club. And I think it's no coincidence that since all them rumours are going around, Mr. Ramsdale has been sharing all his personal life and other bits and bobs that really, as a football fan, I'm probably not that interested in. I'm interested in him keeping clean sheets and winning. And is he doing it? So all this is kept under wraps for all these months. And now he decides it's a great idea now to start airing all this. Really, the club should be telling players, look, keep it all under wraps. Years ago, all this stuff was under wraps. Every human being walking this earth gets a hard time in their life. Every human being. So I'm not having a pop at Ramsdale, not having a pop at him, but I just think there's a time and a place. And when you work for a professional football club, you've got to accept that this sort of stuff's got to be kept under wraps. But for some reason, it's all come out. Havertz, when we signed him, I thought, what a disaster. 65 million for this bloke who just don't look like he's got any aggression and an aggressive bone in his body. And today was a good example of them two chances he sort of fluffed. All right, he got a shot on target and the other one was like a stretched foot in the box. But he's got to be doing a lot better than that. And now we've signed him, I'm going to give him a bit of time. But what they've got to do is get coaches into him to just change his mindset. But the problem is they're going to spend 65 million on him. Right? Go and get, if you feel like you need to improve a player, spend 25 million or 30 million. Don't go and waste 65 million pound on a player that looks like he needs so much development if he's going to do anything, because he looks slow. He just looks lazy. He just don't look interested for me at all. I thought Rice did all right, but you know, he's just a blocker, isn't he? Really, he's not going to be producing too much for us. If he's going to play the same role as he did at West Ham, he's really going to be there to spoil, stop, keep possession. Perhaps when we're in the Champions League, we might be a goal up and we're finding it hard to keep the ball. Rice is going to be a good player that does that for us, but also he needs to develop his game as well and start getting forward and perhaps getting a few more goals as well. So all in all, I think we were lucky to get the I don't want to really use the T word for this today because it's not really a trophy, is it?
It's a dinner plate.
But it's a psychological boost. I look at today as a psychological boost that we can actually beat City. But I think we were lucky with the 2 minutes over the odds the ref put on. And that's it, really. So let's hope that we can get off to a flyer against Forest. But see, Arteta's got a charmed life because these first 4 or 5 games are all winnable. All right, Man United at home won't be easy. That won't be an easy one. But we're at home. We should be beating them. Sorry. So yeah. He's got to put 5 or 6 games to bed and get off to a flying start and get in and you know, gets off to the best start we can get off to.
A new contract for 29 years. You're right. Yeah. I mean, if you throw Arteta into the Thames, he'll come out with a trout in his mouth.
He comes up smelling the roses, doesn't he? Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Kyle, Central, I will come to you in a minute, but Kyle, let me come to you first. So the question was about Saka and Martinelli. You said it perfectly. No excuses. These two people are two of Arsenal's most beloved players, but they have to be under the radar. And today, they weren't really at the races today. Hopefully, you will be on their case as well if they don't perform up to snuff.
Manny, I'm on their case already. I thought they were absolutely embarrassing for their own name last season. Let's not forget that. When it really, really mattered for us to win the Premier League last season, where was Starboy? Nowhere to be seen. Where was Martinelli? This Martinelli, Darren, I totally agree with you. Head down. Clueless, don't know where he's going, what he's doing. They're Trossard. Now we have a huge problem here. No one is talking about it. We have no striker at the club that's going to score us 25 plus goals a season. And without a striker, you're not going to win the major trophies. The same with the defence. The defence was all over the shop today. Timber. He played very well today. I was very impressed with Timber. But overall, I thought defensively we were shocking. I thought Ramsdale is very, very weird. I would have been confident if Ramsdale was behind me in goal. But we got away with it today. But we won't get away with it in the Premier League. And let's not forget, we were playing one game a week as well, by the way, last season. We've been playing more than that this season. So, I don't know. Saka, for me, Saka hasn't kicked the ball the last 3-4 months. Everyone is raving about him that he's world class. Saka's not world class, lads. He's a good player. He has potential to be world class. I've seen many players better than him. Many a player at Arsenal Football Club throughout the years. Martinelli the same. You compare Martinelli to Robert Perez, there's no comparison. Wouldn't be fit to tie the man's boot lessons. So let's all start calming ourselves down here. People there saying that we're going to do this and do that. We won the Community Shield today, and I guarantee you there'll be channels saying, oh, bigging up Arteta and the squad, and we're on for the title and all this fucking bullshit. I got news to tell you. We're going nowhere. We have no hope of winning the league title. And that's what I want. Well, if people want top 4, you're entitled to it. I want number 1. No excuses, Manny. And if we fail, there has to be accountability. Starting with the management.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Gonna have to go, Manny. See you, mate. See you, everyone.
See you later.
Absolutely.
See you on the
Take
next
care of
one.
yourself.
Bye-bye.
See you later.
Definitely.
See you later,
yourself.
I'm delighted that we won it. I'm delighted that we won the Community Shield. Yeah, we did. But this business of people now be saying that we can beat Man City and all, yeah, on a penalty shootout. Let's see what it'll be like now in the Premier League.
Couldn't agree
Manny,
more.
I don't care, Manny. We can point out. I can point out Eddie and Kitty, and I always do. But you have to start pointing the finger to the likes of Saka, to the likes of Martinelli, to the likes of Declan Rice, to the top players that's not performing. You have to point them out. Odegaard,
Captain Fantastic, Odegaard, yeah.
Odegaard,
Didn't do very
captain.
much.
He's still the captain of this club. It's embarrassing.
Couldn't agree more. Henry, you've been sitting in the crossfire listening to all of that. So you've been speaking sort of, trying to sort of dampen your own prospects, given that you hardly have a midfield. But you've heard the accounts of, a few of our fans about the state of our team. Would you at least feel confident about nicking a result against us this season?
No, I think I am very anxious that when we come to the Emirates and when you come to the Anfield, I think if we don't get more midfielders in, I think we won't be good enough to beat you in either game, because our front 3 are brilliant. Diaz, Nunes, Gakpo, Salah. Our defence is abysmal, but our midfield is worse. I can't say any better, because having McAllister and Szoboszlai, and that's it. We've got nothing else, because all the rest of the players are shocking. Absolutely and utterly abysmal players, bar those 2. Because we let our players go, so we would be lucky to maybe get a draw for both games when we play you. I don't think we can beat you, in my opinion, because when you talk about the Arsenal game from last season, where you say you should have won, that is a starting point to what's going to happen this season, I think. I think Arsenal will beat us both times unless we get more midfielders in.
And certainly, I think your defence might need a little bit of tweaking as well. And Van Dijk will need to improve his form. I think he's now the captain, but he has looked quite shaky for club and country. So he's going to have to, get his act together. Central, good evening to you, son. So you saw the glorified soccer aid match, as you would say. We won on penalties. Some absolutely abysmal-looking penalties from City, it has to be said. Aaron Ramsdale would never have had an easier time in a penalty shootout. Couldn't save a penalty for Toffee last season. Now he's saved 2 already in 2 shootouts. What did you think of the game? Did you enjoy it? Are you happy with the trophy? And we're going to come to this question, but what did you think of Arteta today?
This going into this.
Yeah, Central, are you there? I think your Wi-Fi is giving you trouble, mate.
The game has been it's been okay. It's not been perfectly, but we didn't play badly, but we played okay. Like the team starting 11 was kind of fine. And then the second half.
Yeah, Central, I think your Wi-Fi is giving you a few problems. So if you could just disconnect and reconnect and come back on, we'll get you back on. All right?
Okay.
Yeah, just disconnect and reconnect. We'll get you back on. All right? Sorry about that. Okay, so obviously now we've got this question, and I'm going to sort of answer on behalf of the panel, Paul, if you don't mind. I sort of take inspiration from Darren, who left, when I said at the beginning of every season, it's jury out. Okay. And as we stand, it's not really a fair question to ask because the season hasn't even started yet. Because, yes, we might have won a trophy. And I think, we've got Jez in the chat saying that a win against City is a statement of intent. They fought back. Arsenal got a lucky goal, went on to win. And even during the George Graham era, we had games where we won ugly. Now, that is one school of thought to look at it. But we do have a right to sort of express concerns when, things aren't quite going to plan. And look, we're happy with the win for the most part. You heard Kyle Walsh speak. He's delighted with the trophy. None of us are going to look a gift horse in its mouth. But it is our right to express concerns about individual aspects of the performance. It's not about being negative. It's about trying to, analyze everything and see where we can do better. Because, yes, we might have beaten City today, but I did mention that City did take some very poor penalties. And we also looked exceptionally sluggish, and we do have a lot of work to do when we play our first match next week against Nottingham Forest, for whom Matt Turner might end up playing after being on the subs bench today. Funny how life works out. But back to this question from Robinson. Mr. Robinson, sorry about that. You cannot ask this question at this stage of the season. For me, as far as I'm concerned, I'm jury out. I want to see how he does throughout the season. I want to see him take the domestic cup seriously. I want to see him do as well as he can in the Champions League, given that in all likelihood we don't have much of a chance of qualifying. But in addition, a lot of people have said it, for the money that we have spent, for so few players, mind you, we have no excuses if we do not sustain our challenge for the league. And a lot of people have said that this could very well be our year. But if some of us are not too confident, it's with a reason. But at this moment in time, to humor you, Paul, I will ask the panel a question. Warren, at this particular point in time, are you jury out or Arteta out?
Sorry, jury out? What do you mean by jury out?
Well, I mean, are you willing to give him the season, at least give him the benefit of doubt, or are you always going to be Arteta out?
Should have been sacked at the end of last season. Like, why he's still here, I've got no idea. We're going into a new season. We spent nearly £700 million, right? And we still got deficiencies in the squad that need addressing. I can't understand how it is you can spend that amount of money and not have like the starting 11 being top draw. I just don't get it. It's baffling how he's been able to get away with it. And I don't understand it. I can't understand why anyone would be backing it. I haven't backed him since the moment he's been here. He's never showed me 1 minute that I believe that he's got the capability to get us challenging. I just don't see it. And like I said, there's issues in the starting 11. Some of it's tactical, some of it's personnel. But most part of it for me is tactical by a country mile. The players, I think, are good enough, but we've got a manager who is tactically inept and gets them playing a system that doesn't suit them. And he's got serious personality defects, in my opinion, and shouldn't be anywhere near a top draw elite football club as a coach, a manager rather. I just don't think he should. It's shocking that he's still in charge after the capitulations we had 2 years running, not just one, 2. And I haven't seen anything to suggest that we're going to challenge this season from the last 2 years. And I find it baffling. I really do. We should never, ever have appointed him in the first place, in my opinion. Now he's here, I don't know, man. I just don't see it. I don't understand why he's got such a huge following and support. I don't understand it. I really don't. But there you go.
Yeah, I'm glad to get your perspective on that. And Kyle, obviously, no excuses. You've said it perfectly. You're not the biggest fan of Arteta. The capitulation was an absolute sham. But now he's won a trophy. Jury out or Arteta out? Where do you stand?
Arteta out. Arteta should be no. He should have never came into the club in the first place. Never mind going out. And he's here, and I don't understand why he's still here. And I don't know. I feel that was fans kind of changing their minds about us all, and I don't understand. Like people are picking me up to be negative. I'm not negative. I'm pointing out facts. The facts are that we got a lucky goal today, a deflection. Without that deflection, we were based. We didn't look threatened at all, especially in the second half. We didn't create any chances. We scored that goal, we got into a penalty shootout, and in a penalty shootout, that's 50-50. Anyone can win. And thank God we won. So I'm happy about that. But the overall performance today was not good. And there were certain players on that team today that did not perform to the levels that they should be, in my eyes. And you could see in Pep Guardiola's eyes today that he wanted that trophy today.
Right.
So it was an important day, and we won, and thank God we won, and I'm happy that we won. But the overall picture is it's not good. And I believe that Arsenal Football Club will not get in the top 2 this season like we did last season. We'll be lucky to get into the top 4. So, I don't know that. But everybody is entitled to their opinions. And I just feel that over the last few weeks, tensions are high within the community. And
Exactly.
There shouldn't be.
No.
We're all entitled to our opinions. I respect everyone's opinion.
Exactly.
I don't care what channel you have, who you are, what you are. I respect you. So please respect us.
Absolutely.
That's all I say.
Absolutely.
But at the moment, for me, my own opinion, no one else's, I feel that Arsenal will fail again this season because the players and the management are not good enough.
Couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree. For me, it's jury out as it is every single season. Central, can you hear me clearly? I'll give you a few minutes, and I want to get Matt as well because I don't want to keep him too long before he has his podcast with Lee. So just briefly, what did you think of the game, and what did you think of Arteta's tactics? And are you willing to support the team this season, give them a chance?
What is that again?
Listen,
mine's kind of lagging a bit.
Yeah, so what did you think of the game today, our performance? What did you think of Arteta's tactics? And are you willing to support the team this season? Do you have hopes for the team? Try and be quick because I want to get Matt on as well.
Yeah, I'll do it quick. Okay, the game's been okay. Not terrible. We didn't play badly, but we're not playing greatly. Arteta's tactics, a good chance to see Havertz and Timber. I think Zinchenko played. It's just like for this season, this has got to be a make or break season for Arteta, man. I feel like he's got to deliver. It's no more excuses. Like.
Yeah, there's still a problem with your Wi-Fi, I'm afraid, Central. Yeah, but I think we can just say that, you're happy with the trophy, but the performance still has to improve, as does Arteta. But this season, as you've said, it's his last chance, perhaps?
Oh, yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's got to be his last chance.
Okay, Mr. Odom from the land of the peaches. Good evening to you. Good afternoon to you, and how are you today?
What's going on, brothers? Good to see y'all, man. We're back here for another season, and we're officially ready to roll. Yeah,
but before you do roll, I think another one has to roll. Warren, I think, has to leave, so I'm going to put you in the spotlight. Thank you very much indeed for coming on, as always. And do please shout out your socials and tell us where we can find you.
Yeah, you can find me on Warren's Team Talk. Thank you very much, Manny. Sorry to cut in on you there. Matt, I'm really sorry about that, mate.
All good, brother.
I just wanted to say that, you can find me on Warren's Team Talk. I'm going to be doing a show on Diesel's channel soon about Jack the Ripper. And I'm going to be doing my Saturday show next Saturday. Other than that, at the moment, I'm not really sure what's happening, but just keep yourself, keep your notifications on and everything. And I'm sure I'll be back soon. And I just want to say to those people in the chat that are having a go at people for being negative, people aren't being negative. They're voicing their opinion, and their opinion is that there's despite this draw today and the penalty shootout win, there's a lot of issues at this club that need addressing. Simple as that. And people, all they're doing is demanding the best for their club and the highest standards for their club. I don't really see what the issue is with that. So that's all I really wanted to say, Manny. But thanks very much for having me on. I'm really grateful for you letting me come on and whatnot. But yeah, thanks ever so much, Manny.
Thank you very much indeed, Warren. Take care of yourself. And as always, stay safe and stay happy. God bless you, sir. Thank you.
Good to see you, Warren.
All right. And we will, of course, be letting on another person in the chat. But Matt, the floor is yours now. I think you've heard a lot of what has been said. Happy with the win, happy with the trophy, not very happy with aspects of the performance and other stuff. The floor is all yours, Mr. Odom. Fire away.
Well, we got one over on City today. We got out of jail. That's a start. I'm gonna tell you what this season is gonna hinge on. This season is gonna hinge on, one, if we get a striker, and two, will Arteta learn his man management skill. If we are still having this discussion later into the season, then we know that we're probably in trouble. there was a couple of times there that, especially with Timber, when he took Timber off, that was the one that was kind of like, I don't know if you do that, because he was doing such a good job. And then not starting Trossard, and it showed up again today. Trossard has to start. He has to start these games while Jesus is out. And quite frankly, even when Jesus is healthy, you need to reassess it to make sure, because I think Trossard just gives us a better opportunity to win. Those two opportunities that Kai Havertz had, if you put Trossard there, one of them, at least one, we probably get. Those are the fine line details this season that's going to determine how well we do. Do I think we have a good team? I think we've got a decent team. It all comes down to man management now. This is year 3, 4 with Arteta, and it's with some of these players, it's been longer than that. So now he has to coach. I still say we're a striker away. I've come to the realization that Balogun's not going to play, so there's no need for me to even go, well, we need to bring Balogun on. He's not playing for this team. He's probably going to be sold. So we've got to try to make do, and hopefully today's game showed them that either A, we're going to play Trossard in the striking role, or B, we're going to go out and go get a striker. And hopefully Arteta can learn from his mistakes and stop being so stubborn at times. And maybe we can see something. But, like I said, it was a decent win today. We got one over on City, but we still have a few issues we need to resolve. I'm not going to go to extremes, but we still just need some stuff. It's basically the same stuff that we saw at the end of last season. We just need to make sure that we have all our loose ends tied up. So I expect this season to be much tougher than last season.
Absolutely. I mean, we've got some teams strengthening themselves, although, as Henry would say, Liverpool still have a lot of work to do, but then football can be a funny old game. And the lesson is, of course, we can't take things for granted. Things are going to be quite different. Jez, good evening to you, sir. I know you're going to have a lot to say, but let me just ask you, you're obviously delighted with the result, with the win. What did you think of the game? And were there things that you liked and didn't like?
It was a poor game from both teams. Let's get it right. But, I think, Manny, I've made comments in the chat, which people, I think, maybe took the wrong way, is I'm not having a fire at anybody individually. The fact remains it's not the Premier League yet, and both teams are not going to put 100% into that competition. Never been done in history. It's one of them games that it's well, back in my days it was a charity game, so it was all a bit, okay, fair play. We're playing for a shield. It's not a trophy. It's not the FA Cup. It's not the League Cup. It's not the Premier League. It's not the Champions League or the EFL. But the fact remains, we have to be positive. I am not saying at any shape or any time I am Arteta in. You know my opinion on Arteta, right? But support the team. And what I was trying to say is there is such negativity even before the start of the season. Come on, give the guys a chance. I mean, Havertz, right? There is a player in there somewhere. He's not a number 9. He's not a striker. That's where he went so wrong at Chelsea, because he was played in the wrong position. Now, I think Arteta, personally, is trying to find the position for him. He made the statement, Manny, I don't know where to play him. Now, that is a bit of a shocking indictment, really. You spend £65 million on a player and you don't know where to play him. So was it Arteta's choice to buy him? I don't believe it was. I honestly don't believe that's the case. But what I was trying to say, Manny and Kyle, I'm not having a pop at you, man. You know that.
Yeah, I do, Jez.
We have to be positive. It's that we've just won a shield. Okay, it's a shield. We got lucky with a lucky goal from Trossard, deflection, but it got us back in the game. And and I said, Manny, back in the day, George Graham, we won games ugly. We were 1-0 down, and we'd win it we'd draw 1-1, or we'd win it 2-1. We did it with Wenger on so many occasions, right? Let's not forget that. Everybody makes out that the Invincibles were the greatest team in the world. No, they weren't. We got lucky at times. 1-0 down at Portsmouth. I was there. We won 2-1 with a dodgy penalty, right? And it was a very dodgy penalty, you know. So let's just put it into perspective, people. It's pre-season. We start next Saturday. Nottingham Forest at home. Be positive. That's all I'm saying. Be positive. Because it's the football club, it's the badge, it's the team. Every time Havertz comes on that pitch, I will support him. My player that you all know I hated the most in recent times, Granit Xhaka, after he disrespected us at Crystal Palace, right? I still supported him. I still gave him 100%. And when he did Xhaka stuff, I would abuse him for it. But support the team, guys. Kyle, come on, man. It's a new season. Support them. I'm not supporting Arteta. I'm not. I want Arteta out of this club 2 years ago. 2 bloody years ago. He's still here. But support the bloody club, man. Support the badge. It's Arsenal FC.
I hear everything you say, Jace, and I'm 100% behind you. I want to support this club 100%. I want us to win the league. You know this. Everyone wants this. We all want this. Not just me. We all want this. But I just don't know, because I believe that the squad is just not good enough to win the Premier League or the Champions League for that matter. And yeah, we support them. Of course we will. We shout him on. Eddie Nketiah. I hate him. But when he comes on, I shout for him. But I don't know. We got the proper manager. I don't think we do. We're missing a striker. A fella that's going to score 20, 25 goals a season. So it's going to be interesting. And we will shout him on. And I hope that they prove us all wrong and go and win the Premier League. That's all we want. That's what I want. So let's see what happens next week. That's the real deal. Next Saturday is the real deal. No excuses. We all agree on that. No excuses this year. That's if they don't produce, has to be accountability.
Absolutely. I totally agree with you, Kyle. I've been saying it and saying it and saying it. We should have gone 2 years ago. Well, I said it on the stream with Matt and TJ 2 or 3 weeks ago. If he capitulates in the Champions League by Christmas, he must be sacked. No question. He's had his time. He's had his chance. He's had the support. He made the statement in his first season. He wanted his squad. He's got his squad. I don't know whether a couple of players he's had were his choice. I think that may be Edu, but he's had to work with it, and I'll give him some slack on that one. But he made again today a stupid mistake. I'm not blaming Kieran Tierney for that goal. He slipped. Every footballer slips, right? Everybody does. But he took off one of our best players at the time, Jurrien Timber, who was having, I think, a great game. But playing Havertz in that position, I think, was a trial. Personally, I think it was a trial. That is not his position. That is not his place. There is a place in midfield for him. He's not a striker. And I agree with you, Kyle. We need a 25 goal a 25 goal season player, and we haven't got one. And that is the biggest mistake that's going to cost us. And I think, Kyle, I totally agree with you. Matty, you've said it. Come the Champions League, that all these fans have been asking for the last 6 years. Well, we got it, but we ain't got the team. But all I'm saying is this, my point. Support them. Give them the best. Because we don't know. There may be a little gem out there in that team that some way comes to fruition and proves us wrong. And we need to support that. That's all I'm saying. I'm not supporting Arteta. I'm not. But I'm supporting my team.
We're all supporting the team, as Static has said. When it's 90 minutes, we all do that. Now, I want to bring on a new guest. And Henry, I think you've opted to drop out. But I want to thank you again for coming on. And it's always wonderful to have a fan of another team coming on to our channel and talking to us. And hopefully we'll see more of you. But do please tell us where we can find you so that we can keep in touch with you and hopefully have a lot more of you.
Thank you very much for having me on, Manny. I really appreciate it. Yes, I will come on again sometime. I don't really give out my socials because I'm quite a private person. So the only time you will find me is on my YouTube channel, which is Henry Ray Baker. I'm on social media, but I just don't give them out unless I know someone really well, and then I will give out my socials. But until then, no. I'm sorry. Because
That's
I
fine.
don't trust people.
That's perfectly fine. That's perfectly fine. I'm sorry for having asked you, but once again, thank you for coming on.
My pleasure. Goodbye, everybody.
All right. See you, Henry. And bye. And we will, of course, welcome a new fan on, a West Ham fan who was blowing bubbles at the end of last season, but it looks as though the bubbles might be starting to burst a little bit. Tony from Early Doors Football TV, West Ham fan. Good evening to you, and how are you today?
Yeah, I'm good, Manny. Thanks very much for letting me come on that. And guys in the chat, and then obviously definitely on the panel, welcome. Good seeing you lot. And I hope you enjoyed today's game. It was a bit of a... I mean, when you look at it, it was a game of two halves. City had, in the first half especially, I think it was City's first 20-odd minutes, it was them. Arsenal grew into the game as it went up towards near half-time. Second half, City had a little spell. But when you look at the goal, I mean, and obviously they're saying, blaming Tierney for the matter. I don't think even if he stood on his 2 feet, the fact that he would have still missed it. Gabriel turned to his side, and it still looped over Ramsdale. I don't think it would have mattered anyway if Tierney stayed on his feet or fell on the floor. But that's my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, we can certainly agree that Tierney deserved to be saved from those brickbats because, I mean, it was just poor circumstances. And after that, a goal, he actually looked very tidy and did keep Cole Palmer and Julian Alvarez quiet for the most part before we got our fortunate equaliser. Central, let me now come to you. I'd like you to say a couple of sentences clearly. You've heard a lot of us, you've heard the views of Jez saying basically that we need to support the team no matter what. And we are willing to support the team. And this comment makes it pretty clear. When it's 90 minutes being played on the field, we support the team. Even if it's a player we despise, be it Nketiah or Havertz or anyone who just doesn't quite, really make us happy, we are willing to support the team. But briefly, and I'm going to get to Matt now because I don't know how long he's got. I also want to make sure that he will be on time for his podcast with Lee. But Central, how passionate are you about the team? How much do you cheer for them? And do you still think that there are some players in this team who can do something this season? Because I think Jez has pretty much made a point that football being a funny old game can throw up a few surprises. We saw Reece Nelson last season against Bournemouth. You never know when somebody could come up and provide some spark that could maybe set the season forward. Do you still have some room for optimism, and do you agree with everything that Jez says?
Yeah. I agree. Like the whole, like it's like his opinion. You can, everyone has the title of their opinions. You can't, but I'm looking forward. Like there's some automatic going into this season. Like I said, it's make a break season for Arteta. But like there's some players that in this game could really might have an impact for this season. Like Timbers. But Timbers, Havertz. If he's depending on what position he's going to play, this is going to be like he's more of a guinea pig type of player. But I'm trying to keep it short and simple, folks. I'm trying to have a say again, tongue tied back, but
I think once again, So I think what we're going to say is that you are willing to support the team. You are hopeful that the new signings will come good, but again, we still have a right to, critique the team if things don't go too well, if they don't perform well. And of course, we were speaking about Saka and Martinelli and how their performances have dipped. So we should criticize them if things don't go well. But if they do well, we must give them the credit they deserve. Isn't that right, Central?
He's frozen.
Yeah, it's raining today in his neck of the woods. So we're going to have to try and listen. I'll remove you for a bit, but just hopefully things will get cleared and we'll welcome you back. But Mr. Odom, the stage is yours. You can speak for however long you want. I know you've got to have your podcast with Lee. Now, again, we're going to sort of go away from the away from the Shield now, because that's all done and dusted. And now we're going to talk about Arsenal. And of course, we do have our first game up against Nottingham Forest, which will be at home. And what's really unique is that Matt Turner, who was, of course, on the bench today, will, in fact, be joining Nottingham Forest and could very well end up starting. So you can just think about how it's come full circle. Only a few days ago, he might have been playing a game for the reserves against the first team. And then next week, he could very well be starting unless Steve Cooper decides to pick Wayne Hennessy ahead of him, which I don't think will happen. But going into the first week now, and I think I'm just trying to get the preview up. My Wi-Fi is causing all sorts of problems. But we've got Forest on the 12th of August. We've got Crystal Palace away at Selhurst Park on the 21st of August. And we actually started our campaign against them last season. We've got a home game against Fulham on the 26th. Manchester United, of course, at the Emirates. And, of course, an away trip to Everton. Sean Dyche, of course, beat us and in that corresponding fixture last season when it was his first game. But this season, Everton definitely looked down and out in the many people's picks to avoid relegation. So Manchester United aside, we do seem to have a pretty decent run of 5 games. I think Darren alluded to that before he had to leave. What are you expecting from these games? And do you feel confident that at least we can try and put the pre-season result right by doing well against Manchester United? Who do you think is going to be key in these 5 games? Matt, we can't hear you. You mute.
Appreciate it, Jess. Appreciate it. The next 5 games are going to be critical for our strikers, because if we cannot score, if we have trouble scoring, it's going to be a long season. We cannot afford to get out behind the 8 ball early. Palace is a tricky game. Let me see. I'm trying to see the pull Static's comment down right quick, if you don't mind, Manny. I'll take a look at this screen so I can
just hold on.
Because I can. I know you got it. There we go. So Forest, first games are tricky. Those are what I call 50-50 games a lot of the time. Everybody's up for the season. Everybody's ready to play. On paper, that should be a win. Palace. We know that could be a trap game. But luckily, Zaha's not there. But still, going to Palace is playing Palace is a tough team. Fulham, can be tricky. Then you get to United. That's 50-50 game. Everton, Dyche. That's Dyche has always had Arteta's number. Then you look at the North London Derby. That's 50-50. So then you go to the game after that, and I'm gonna prove my point. Bournemouth, and then look what's behind Bournemouth. You're gonna see a different Man City team this time of the year, and then Chelsea behind that. So we've got to get our scoring shoes on quickly because there's no penalty kick starting Saturday. There's no more penalty kick starting Saturday. We've got to go out and we've got to do the business. Arteta's going to have to earn his stripes this season. He's got to earn it. He's got to earn his stripes this season. He's going to have to show not only us as fans, but the entire world that he can be a competent manager and get this team to the heights that it needs to be to. Credit to the guys today. We won the match today, and we got it. But that's now dead. That's dead and buried. It's over. That is over with. Now it's time to get down to business and get 3 points on the board per game. I'll say this in closing. Monty, I think we talked about it there towards the end of the season. There was two games that we had trouble with, 2 or 3 games we had trouble with in the first half of the season that costed us on the back end of the season. So it's best for us to do what we need to do early so that we'll have a little bit of credit in the bank in case what we went through last year shows up again. So there's really no room for error this season. No room for error.
Well begun is half done, as we would say.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, as always, Mr. Odom, it's a pleasure. I am going to let you off. But before you go, as always, do shout yourself out. Tell us where we can find you and tell us what you've got coming up now that the season will be starting.
Well, I will be a little quiet this week. I've got to work, but I will be on fan camp with Lee today, and I'll be on with him and Ola next Saturday for the Premier League curtain raiser. So, and you can find me at Southern Gooner on social media here on YouTube. So, gentlemen, it's always good to see you all, man. Jez, Kyle, Manny, early doors. Good to see you, my friend. And if I forgot anybody else, man, please, as my old folks just say, charge it to my head, not my heart.
Big up, Matt.
Always a pleasure, as always. Always a pleasure. Take care of yourself and have a good rest of your evening.
All right,
day, yeah?
All right, gentlemen. Y'all have a good one. Good seeing y'all.
Cheers.
Okay.
Right. So Kyle, now we've got you back, and hopefully there's no more cracking on your side. So you've seen the run-in. Aside from maybe a few games, we do have a pretty good start. But then, as Matt has pointed out, we got some pretty tricky games, including a home match against Manchester City and, of course, a home North London derby against Ange Postecoglou's Tottenham. Yes, we know they're awful. They had an awful season. But beware the wounded cockerels, as we would say. How confident are you of us having a good start to the season?
I think it's very crucial that we have a good start to the season. We have to come out firing from the very beginning. I think we should beat Nottingham Forest personally, especially in the Emirates. Put a stamp on the season. Go out there, win 2 or 3-0. Get the confidence going. We should be confident enough after today's result. And also, I'm going over to the Man United game. I got 2 tickets, so I'm going to the Man United game. So I'll be shouting the boys on from the stadium that day. So that's a tricky game. There's a few tricky games. You don't go out and win games. You have to go out and you have to produce the goods and you have to win those games and get the 3 points. But for us to really push Man City, we have to come out fighting straight away, Manny. We cannot rest on our laurels at all. We have to go out and fight from the beginning. So I'm looking for a positive start to the season. Get a few results under the belt. Get the confidence going. Get the squad up here. Get Declan Rice up to speed. Find out where Kai Havertz is going to play. And just get the job done. Let's push the boys on. Like Jay said, push the team on. This is not about Arteta. This is now about the team pushing on and win the league title. And if they do, brilliant. And of course,
Absolutely.
what I really want to see, we all want to see it. I wouldn't mind a statue of Arteta outside the stadium in years to come if he produces the goods. But we all know that's not going to happen. But yeah, go out, beat the teams, get the points on the board. That's all we can do. Do our job, Manny. That's our job.
But I mean, talking of statues, I agree with Jez. We still need one for George Graham. It is sacrilege that we don't have one as of yet. I haven't seen that stream yet, but I will get back to that on playback very soon. I'm sure you had a huge Barney about it, and it was a really lively discussion.
Me?
Jez? Yes.
Oh, sorry. Beg your pardon. Yeah, I mean, I had a couple of people come to me and say, why did he deserve a statue when he went and managed Spurs? Well, that's totally irrelevant. I mean, I could counter that by saying to them, well, he managed Millwall before he came to Arsenal. So, I mean, it's irrelevant. The point I was trying to make with Kenny Ken and that was, you know, what he achieved in 9 years at Arsenal Football Club was 2 European trophies, 2 Division 1 titles, where in 91 we very nearly went invincible. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, we lost to Chelsea. But you have to look at what he did for the club. Now, I'm not going to get into the corruption thing because I've got no proof of what happens. If it's true, I'm sure it is, but I don't know, so I can't discuss that point. But the fact remains, 9 years that man won 8 trophies. Arsene Wenger won 7 FA Cups, 2 league titles. 3 league titles. And I mean, all right, he did a double. Okay, respect. In 23 bloody years. Now, I've seen people say to me, oh, but Arsene Wenger changed the face of football. Did he really? I don't think so. And I've had some serious discussions about this with people saying like, oh, Jez, you say in your history chat, Herbert Chapman changed football. Well, actually, he did by introducing the WM structure, which is still used today in modern football. Because back in the 20s, it was basically the fact that football managers wouldn't let their wing backs, as they were called back then, go forward to overlap their attackers. Herbert Chapman did, and so that statement really is a load of crap. In the fact that George Graham, beg your pardon, Arsene Wenger changed football. He didn't. He just adopted what every other manager in the world has done since 1932. Because
old wine in a new bottle, as you would say.
Well, Herbert Chapman developed that system at Huddersfield Town, who he managed was the first team to go and win 3 Division 1 titles on the bounce. So I negate those comments because you have to look at your history and know what you're talking about, and obviously the people that make those comments don't. But the fact remains, George Graham was not only a fantastic captain and a fantastic player for Arsenal Football Club, he was also an iconic manager.
Agreed.
So personally, I feel he deserves recognition.
He should. And certainly a player who deserves recognition is our leading appearance maker, David O'Leary, who still doesn't get quite enough that he deserves, but that's a debate for another day. But now, of course, going back to the players, and we've discussed quite a few, one player who had, I'd say, a decidedly better game than otherwise, although it was quite mixed for the most part, is a certain Aaron Ramsdale. Now, a lot of talk has been, made about him. And Jez and Tony, you've been witness to all of the shenanigans in the group chat, partly from my side, partly from others, about how he's not yet quite the finished article. And although he is still a fine shot stopper, he does tend to, have some moments of balminess, if that's the right way to put it. I think, with his feet, I think he looked a little bit shaky. He very nearly got chipped. And again, from distance, there was some good saves he made, although one of them, I think it went through his legs and out for a corner. But, of course, with David Raya coming in, and bear in mind, I'm not too sure what sort of a role he played in Brentford's pre-season. The assumption is that with Raya coming in, Ramsdale will probably find his place in jeopardy. Now, you will know, Jez, that I'm not his biggest fan. But I'm not about to write him off now and say that his days are numbered. But we can agree that he definitely has to improve himself. And in as much as he wasn't exactly, David Seaman-esque today, he does these results will give him a little bit of confidence. But I wonder if in this case the added competition will be a thing. And with the signings that we've bought, you mentioned that Havertz is in a bit of a quandary put in by his manager, where the manager says he doesn't not quite know where to play him. He probably should be best in a number 10 role in a 4-2-3-1 system. But the problem is, of course, that is occupied by our Captain Fantastic Odegaard. So then how do you squeeze him in or shoehorn him in? But let's start with Ramsdale first. Do you think that he'll have a good season this season and the competition will benefit him? Or do you see him continuing to be a little bit shaky? Because there will come a time when his luck runs out, as against Sporting Lisbon last season.
I think, Manny, it's a great question. Several points there. I think the fact that we're bringing in Raya, it will challenge him. I think he needs that challenge. I don't think with Turner he had that challenge. I think Ramsdale had it easy because there's nobody really pushing him. Raya coming in will be, I think, a kick on for him, because he's going to suddenly look behind him and think, on the training pitch, for example, okay, they're going to chat, they're going to get to know each other, they're going to train together, right? And they're going to think, Ray is going to want to push. He's going to want to push Ramsdale, that's for sure. If he comes in from Brentford as the ex-Brentford number 1, then he's going to want to be saying, well, I want your position, man. And that's good. That's what I like to see. I'd love to see every Arsenal player in the first team squad, the first 11, have somebody pushing them to say, well, actually, I want your place in the team and I'm going to push you in training. And if you don't if you don't make the mark, I'm in, you're out. And that's what, let's be honest, back in the years, we used to have that sort of situation when we had players in positions where they'd say, even, dare I say, Dennis Bergkamp, right? There was players in the back would say, right, okay, Dennis Bergkamp's world class, but I want to beat him. I want to be better than him. I want to prove myself. And that is when Arsenal achieve greatness. And that's what we need now. We need that money to push it on. We need that to say, actually, we're making a statement this season and saying, right, talking about the keeper, of course, we've got now 2 great keepers. Who is going to play week in, week out? Who's going to play in the Champions League? Because that is what Man City do. Back in time, that's what Man United used to do, right? And if I go back even further, that's what Liverpool used to do. So why can't we do that at Arsenal Football Club, Manny?
A question that can be asked, although I do seem to remember when David Seaman was ruling the roost. I can't recollect who some of our reserve keepers were. For a time, we had Vince Bartram, who moved on to Gillingham, Alex Manninger, Richard Wright, Stuart Taylor, And then, of course, Jens Lehmann came in and Seaman bid goodbye. But I'll tell you what, the lack of competition never stopped him from becoming one of our all-time greats. Central, good to have you back. And your now that you're on your phone, you are clear. And I think we've got most of what you wanted to say. But what's your take on Ramsdale? And do you think Raya will push him or replace him? Give us your 2 cents or 2 pence in this case.
Well, I think he will push. I think Raya's going to push Ramsdale. You know, like Ramsdale. I'm not saying he's world class. You know, that is so outdated. The world class thing, but I think he's a good goalkeeper. I think that game against Sporting Lisbon last season, I think that it was unfair for him. You know, it's nothing he can do with the penalties. You know that if he can't save the penalty, it's nothing he can do. You know, it has to do with luck. But I think I think he's been good. I hate to say best, but he's been a good goalkeeper for the last 2 seasons, you know, since he came here. You know, when we bought him, you know, people didn't respect him because he's got like -5 when he first came here. But we got a relegation goalkeeper. You know, he got relegated twice with Bournemouth and Sheffield United. But he cannot prove a lot of fans wrong. You know, it's not. I don't know, man. With Raya, I think he will. I don't know which one's going to play for the league and the Champions League and which one's going to play the cup games. I think this is going to be some competition, you know, like you don't, you know, over the years, you know, we find goalkeepers that can't really fit the mold, you know, they're not good enough. Over the years, we have like fucking Magna, like Richard White, Mamoni. Magna, what's the name? Stuart Taylor, and the list, Fabianski. You know, the only goalkeeper stand out, you know, did well, or you know, was Emi Martinez. He's now doing well. He's good at Aston Villa, but I think with Ramsdale, I think that Southampton game last season, I think that was I think it was stand out for me of a cock up, you know. He needs to I think it has to do with the tactics of playing like a sweeper keeper. I hate this whole sweeper keeper thing. I think it's a bit like he's not a sweeper keeper. He's more like a goalkeeper, stay on the line type of keeper. He's not a sweeper keeper, comes out of his box. He's not a Neuer. I don't understand that. You know, like same as like Leno. You know, people like give Leno some shit because of his kicking. And, you know, out of the box, you know, he's not a sweeper keeper, you know, he's just a goalkeeper, man. You know, that's my 2 pence on it, you know.
Agreed. Now, before we bring Tony back into this, I think Jez has to go because he's mentioned that his dinner's ready, and I do not want to let him go without his meal. But once again, thank you for coming on, sir. Do shout yourself out. Tell us where we can find you. And do you have anything coming up on Arsenal, the history, and more?
Yes, mate. Thank you for having me on, man. Always a pleasure, Manny. Arsenal history more. It's all Arsenal history, match previews, match reviews. Get great people on. Manny comes on, and everybody else, whoever wants to come on, can come on and have an Arsenal chat. Basically, I've got some stuff coming up this week. Quite a bit, actually. Wednesday night is the start of the podcast thing with Kenny and guests, and I'm on with Yeti on Tuesday night, I think, and everything like that. And just going to throw this out there, people. I'm 83 away from 4K subs, so if anybody's new in here, go and please give us a sub, and we'll hit the 4K, which will be very nice indeed. And guys, great show. Enjoyed it, loved it, and thanks for having me on, man.
Always a pleasure. And I'm really glad that we were able to sort of, hear both sides of the argument and we come to a resolution, because that is what fans do, that is what friends do, and let this be the way it ends. Have a good night, sir. Take care of yourself and enjoy your meal. And give my best to the wife.
Wednesday. Thanks again, Jez.
Yeah. Yes, mate, you're coming on with me. And Central Network, great to see you, my friend. And Early Doors, looking forward to having you on my channel for the first time. Guys, have a great evening. And
well.
come on, you Gunners.
All right, cheers. Now, I think this comment from Craig Malloy says it perfectly. We had a world-class keeper, and I think Central alluded to him, a certain Emi Martinez, who, of course, has since gone on to become a Copa America winner and a world champion. And we've got an interesting comment over here from a Brentford supporter, Mr. B, stinging us right now, saying, you can't have Raya for less than £40 million unless you want to give us Balogun, who we will happily take off you. Well, you know what? I'll tell you what, with Tony being banned, you're going to need all the striking help you can get. But I'll tell you what, strikers might look forward to coming to your club than us. And got another comment here. Arsenal future, good to have you on the channel. And I've seen some of your comments before. I've highlighted them. Thanks a lot for coming on. Since 2019, we've spent about 650 million quid approximately. If we had hired Mourinho, Conte, or Ancelotti in this time with all that money, we'd have won at least one Premier League title and won another cup, in my honest opinion. I'll tell you what, if we had not sold a few players, including one we just mentioned, we'd be Europa League winners and potentially Premier League winners. But again, if ifs and buts were sweets and nuts, we'd all have a Merry Christmas. But we are going to wrap this up. But before we do that, Tony, thank you very much indeed for coming on. And this is now going to be your time to shine, and you're going to have the honor of having the last question, because West Ham fan, as I mentioned in the introduction, you were blowing bubbles at the end of last season, but the bubble looks like it could be bursting. I mean, I'm obviously sharing the run-in, but before we do that, I've taken a look at your team, and obviously, you know, you've been able to earn quite a good bit of dosh from getting rid of your captain. Thank you very much indeed, by the way. He's still undercooked. So we're going to stick to naan and chapati with our curry from now on for the time being. But why has the transfer activity been so, dormant from your side? And are you worried about this season if tensions between the manager and the top brass could boil over? And maybe David Moyes should have walked away from West Ham as a winner.
Yeah, I mean, we'll start with that one. I think you're absolutely right, because obviously Moyes won that Europa Conference. I think that's given him a bye so far into this season. But if he was the better man, you would kind of win that, say, thank you very much. This is what I've given to your club. And it's time to actually, to walk away, and we get new fresh blood in. So obviously we've got this dead time guy coming, who's now our kind of new sporting director. So obviously you've got Mark Noble in the background, which is learning off of him. But of course, you then got David Moyes and you've got Sullivan. And it seems Moyes and Stead Time, that's where the problem lies. Stead Time wants to go forward and obviously look at younger talent, European talent that's going to put, move the club forward. Whereas Moyes wants Premier League experience. Yeah, you have that, but you have a balance. I mean, look at you guys. I mean, over the last couple of weeks, it's all about, is Partey leaving? Is he staying? And it proves that having him in that side, that balance of having experience and with the younger players, it works. But Moyes, unfortunately, with the Premier League experience, that doesn't always get you anywhere. Because as you can see, we're an aging squad. We've got a lot of unrest going on. We've lost a lot of the coaching staff. I think we're down to 3, if not 4 coaches left. That's it. All the coaching staff have left. So the club at the moment is a right mess. So your question, Manny, yeah, I mean, I do kind of worry how our season is going to be. It wouldn't surprise me that we kind of end up being relegation fodder, but we need to do something. I mean, Moyes, his contract finishes at the end of this season. Sullivan, they've just taken on Vanessa Gold. She's now coming as a new director in the club, so there's that element still. But really, yeah, we need a new owner, a new manager, and obviously we definitely need players. So yeah, we're in the mine at the moment.
And of course, speaking of players, we've got this question from Craig, who asks whether or not Rice is better at playing in a 6 or an 8 role. The big problem we've got, Craig, is that the 8 role seems to be a little bit overcrowded at the moment. Because if we play the 4-2-3-1 like we did today, Odegaard has to slot into that position, as it were. So we have the 2 defensive midfielders, and Rice pretty much slots in there. And of course, Tony, you'll remember Rice playing in a very similar position, which is probably why we got him in the first place. So do you think he could benefit from moving forward, or is he better off being stuck back as a CDM?
I think better.
I mean, I know he plays. Yeah. Go ahead.
No, sorry, you're going to say. Go.
No, please go ahead. Please go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah, I think he's better as a CDM. He can be box to box. We've seen that. With your guys, obviously, you've got better players in certain areas. Especially on the wings, Saka and Martinelli, we've not really had that kind of luxury. The only one you could say that really stands out is Bowen. Ben Rama doesn't give you a complete game. Even Fornals doesn't give you a full game. Whereas you've got that with Martinelli and Saka. So Rice, yeah, more CDM. So the 6 role, Odegaard, I'd say, is definitely the 8 role. He creates that things for you guys, and then you've got really Partey kind of working hand in hand with him. And Rice, for me, should just sit behind, soaking up, intercepting, and playing balls out. That's what he should be doing. I think that's what that's where he'll relish with you guys. But obviously, it all depends on Arteta, what he's got in mind for him.
Yeah, I mean, I do know that whenever Gareth Southgate plays with a 4-3-3, Rice is more or less on the left of the centre, with probably Phillips or Henderson in the middle, and this is failing me who'd be there. Could be Bellingham or someone else, but yeah, that could also be an option for Rice if Arteta goes back to the 4-3-3. But we do play better with the 4-2-3-1, and that really only works though if we have a prolific striker. When Nketiah starts, we've got to accommodate him, which is a real pain in the backside. And now, of course, we're going to talk about your run-in. Yeah. So you're obviously going to start this season the same day as us, although we'll have the early kickoff. A nice trip to Dean Court up against Bournemouth, and then a really tricky home game against Chelsea. Nice trip to the Amex on the south coast to take on Brighton and Hove Albion. And then, of course, a very tricky away day at Kenilworth Road against the new boys, Luton Town, the smallest stadium in the Premier League. Tasty home clash against the treble winners, an away game against Liverpool, home game against new boys Sheffield United, but then another home game against Newcastle, away game against Aston Villa. You've got it all to do, haven't you?
We have indeed, and it doesn't look great, does it? I mean, at the end of the day, we're losing Scamacca bollocks of it. He's going to Atalanta. Antonio doesn't really want to be there. So yeah, our strike force. I mean, apart from the only one that's kind of been the shining light in the friendlies has been Divan Mabamba, but Moyes going to give him his opportunity. That's the thing. I mean, the kid scored virtually in every friendly that he's been played in, but no, Moyes, he'll stick him back on the bench. So yeah, our season doesn't look good, Manny. Hence why I actually go on other channels and get more communication, because I know I'll get more enjoyment watching that, to be honest with you.
Yeah, but I mean, you never know. I mean, there'll always be some time when the bubbles will be blown again. And of course, Moyes has given you some really good moments. I wouldn't put it past him to somehow work his magic. He's another lucky fella. If you throw him into the Thames, he'll come out with a trout in his mouth.
Exactly. You know that, don't you? He's one of those. I mean, you've done going back on your Ramsdale question. When you look at that, I mean, obviously I'm the outsider looking in. For Ramsdale, for me, last season, he saved you in quite a few games. And I think if you look at it, for some of the games that he put some great saves in, if he wasn't there, I don't think Matt Turner would have been saving some of those goals. And I don't think you would have ended up being second at that point. But, you've got to give him his dues. But as the chat said, as Jez has said, even you said exactly the same thing. When you know there's no kind of pressure against you, you get complacent. Because at the end of the day, I can look over my shoulder, it's only Matt Turner. I've got no worries at all. Now the talk of Raya coming in, you can see it must have actually, mentally got into Ramsdale's head, because there was a couple of sloppy passes. He tried to actually kind of trap the ball and it kind of went away from him. He made up for it later on in the game. But yeah, I think, as you mentioned, Manny, the fact that if you're going to pay anywhere in the region of 40 million for Raya, then Ramsdale must be thinking he's going to be first choice and I'm going to be sitting on the bench. And you're going to be in the same situation like you were with Martinez.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously, with Martinez and Leno, it was jobs for the boys. Arteta had to back his blue-eyed boy, and a fat lot of good that did us. But, tomorrow's another day. I mean, maybe, if Martinez gets a bit tired of it and we have a new manager, we'll get him back. I mean, I certainly wouldn't mind adding it back. It would be like when we replaced John Lukic with David Seaman. But it is what it is. So hopefully, Tony, your season goes well. And Central, I want to thank you once again for being patient. I'm really sorry about the Wi-Fi issues, but next time, hopefully, when you come on, your Wi-Fi will be clear. But I'll let you have the last word very quickly. What's your prediction for our season? Will we improve on second? Will we at least win a domestic trophy? How far do you think we can go in the Champions League? Let it all out.
Okay. In the Premier League, so like it's Wilson. I give until November if we're not top, but I don't. I think we'll probably finish second. I think we still got a lot missing pieces in our jigsaw. In the Champions League, I predict quarterfinal. It could break our hoodoo of not like getting knocked out of the last 16 every single season. And we gotta win it. We gotta win a trophy, man. You know, it's been, if we don't win it, man, it'll be like 4 years going on 5 years, and that's it.
Yep, we definitely need at least a trophy. We need to see some signs that the team is now serious about winning. We are willing to support the team. I know that Tony will still continue to blow bubbles for West Ham, but at the end of the day, it is a results business, and if results don't go your way, it's time to say thank you and good day, or in this case, good night.
Exactly.
Central, I'm going to give you the spotlight. We are going to wrap up. It's been about 100 minutes or so, but thanks a lot for being patient. We do love you having you on and saying what you want to say. Sorry about the Wi-Fi. Tell us where we can find you and what you've got coming up.
You can follow me on Central Man Network on YouTube. I'm on 352 subscribers. There's one video I'm gonna do. It's my Premier League predictions. You know, like league position predictions. You know, it's a tradition. You know, I'm starting to do. You know, that will be somewhere later on this week.
Okay, very good. And of course, the last person who will end it is our debutant, Tony from Early Doors Football TV. Thank you very much indeed for coming on. And listen, we might be basically an Arsenal, podcast channel, but we do love having other fans coming on. And of course, hopefully when we play you lot twice this season, you can come on and have your say. If you beat us, you're welcome to rub it in, but don't lay it on too thick. If we beat you, we are not going to be disrespectful to you. Do tell us what you've got going on, sir, and where we can find you.
So obviously, Early Doors Football TV, fairly new at doing this as well, Manny. I mean, obviously, I'm now on to 82 subs, so I'm on the road to 100, getting there slowly but surely. And I cover all types of football, not just obviously West Ham. I'll come onto Arsenal channels. I'll talk about non-league. I'll even talk about grassroots football and obviously the lower divisions as well. So I'm looking to go all content football-wise, and any chance I've got people getting on to collab with me in that's what we look to do as well.
Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And it goes without saying that you, like Central, and all of our guests are always welcome back. I want to thank everyone who's contributed to the chat, everyone from the beginning, Game Killer, Luke, James, Paul Robinson, Anirin Jones, and I'm just scrolling through. There's just some people I can't really read, Taib Hussein, and Joel Eaton, and a few others. Static as well coming on late, Ryan Stockley. And if I've missed any names at this point, I will send you a check in the post. The Machronicle, of course. And still going through. Dave Riley, thanks a lot for having your say. Ali D as well. And I've tried to make sure that every channel gets highlighted. And of course, Arsenal Future, thanks for your words. And also, Mr. Beehive, the Brentford perspective. We are eventually going to have to pay a little bit more, but then listen, your club could very well end up folding. So don't blame us. Don't blame the players. Don't blame the club. Blame the game. All of you who contributed to the chat have been terrific. You're the reason why this stream and Del Boy's channel exists. I'm really sorry he couldn't join today. Things have, I think he was probably going through a few things. Maybe he had a prior commitment. He wanted me to take care of this, and I was happy to do it. But this is Del Boy Gunner TV. This is not Manny Fan TV. Manny Gunner TV. He will obviously be ready to take charge once the season starts. This was, of course, as Central said, nothing more than a glorified soccer aid game. But as Jez would also say, It's a trophy. We beat Manchester City. So well begun is effectively half done. And that gives us hope. And yet we all know it's the hope that kills you. Maybe, as Seamus Haney would say, hope and history will rhyme. But it's a long season and we'll have to see. And as Del Boy would say, thanks a lot for joining in. Take care. God bless each and every one of you. And we will see you all very soon.
Take care.
Henry. What a goal! Trying to goal!